Things are going down.
And look who's there. It's Mash Me. It's
And
Don't
Ted
Mash
Stickles.
Me. Yeah, Ted Stickles. Yeah, he's the VIP on Nick Allen is Handsome.
Is he the MVP of Nick Allen is Handsome?
So Lightblind was talking about, if you guys don't know who that is, he's a mod. He was talking about the Nick Allen drinking game, that every time we say Nick Allen in the cast.
Oh dear, we're saying Nick Allen all over the place.
It's
going to be a lot.
Yeah.
And
you take a drink.
Hey, just to be fair, guys, Nick Allen is getting involved in the drinking game, so
yeah.
we'll be casting.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick Allen, why don't you just take a sip there?
Oh, okay.
He's
trying to kill me.
Yeah,
he's not the nicest of guys, but he looks good, doesn't he? Damn, he looks good. Okay.
Are you talking about me or you?
It doesn't matter.
We both look good. That's perfect. Xin Zhao is actually kind of an interesting band because it's something we haven't seen in forever. But with the buff, everyone's kind of wondering how Xin Zhao is going to fit in. And he's borderline OP. Wings of Death is the one to show it. And so that is a targeted ban absolutely for Wings of Death. Now that there's no Aphromoo, you know, who's the #1 guy on the team? Wings of Death. Shut him down. Don't let him get that Xin Zhao.
Definitely. And Wings of Death is really good at taking those champions that you don't necessarily think are good and making them exceptionally good. And combine that with the fact that Xin Zhao might be a little too strong right now, he's going to be doing a lot of damage in that top lane.
I'm just scared to see how this team is going to perform without Aphromoo because he was the bread and butter to hold down the team.
I like the way you said that. That was nice.
Wings of Death in the top lane, and Aphromoo, you know, he always crushed the bottom lane. But whenever you watch TSM Evo, despite, you know, how successful they might be in their lanes, they always, I don't know, kind of faltered in team fights. And you saw people getting picked off left and right. There were always a number of issues. I don't know. What are your kind of thoughts on how this team could maybe do without Aphromoo?
Well, I think Mashme is still a really strong AD,
yeah.
and we've seen his success when he used to play back on Complexity, and then he moved over to Chop into Car, and then Monomaniacs, and he does really well. His Tristana.
He was actually going to be on Epic for a period of time before, you know, Aphromoo and everyone joined. There was a short period of time where he was on Epic.
Didn't he sub for Epic at
yeah, he did, and he was
IPL 4, right?
I think they offered him. Like, he subbed and they offered him, and he was going to be on Epic and he was going to be on TSM Evo. But he held off, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that him and Patoy had these plans, or at least that's how I remember the story.
Illusions of grandeur, my friend.
Right.
They wanted to go to Korea.
That never happened. They wanted to go to Korea.
Yeah, they wanted to go. But, oh, okay, Alistar, where do you think he's going?
I think he's. I don't know. I don't know what Elzura. I'm sorry. Nick Allen is Handsome. Okay, I don't know where Nick Allen is Handsome plays him. You know, he's definitely, as a first pick, you kind of expect it to be a jungler, and it's very unusual to pick a kill lane support as your first pick because then the other team, you know, they can just sit back and play kind of defensively. So it's probably going to be a jungle, but it has that kind of flexibility. So I cut you off. You were saying about Mash Me.
That was pretty much it. But I mean, he's good. He isn't to be underestimated.
Yeah.
And his Tristana, of course, is of note because it's so exceptional. But he's just been around for a while, and he's always doing really well. It's solo queue, and Mono is a good, solid team. Bot lane with Patoy, they always did really, really well. So I'm expecting him to do really well for TSM Evo, and I'm excited to see how he performs tonight.
A big thing with AD carries is, I mean, you sit there, you farm, and then late game you attack things. I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that. But
no, that's it, man.
That's basically it. Nat Nguyen, a lot of the bot lane, it comes from the support and how much pressure they can put on the lane. One with lane harass, and then keeping you alive. There's a lot of interesting things that supports can do, and Nat Nguyen is definitely one of the stronger supports in the game. I have to say, as far as MTW is concerned, Muffin Cutie is, he's phenomenal. I mean, he's you never really see him make any mistakes, and he's one of the most aggressive supports. But
yeah, he's very aggressive, and I think that's actually to Nat's benefit. He's very diverse in his play style in the bot lane. He can do a lot, and I think it's hard to read, and it's hard to expect things from him because he has so much experience and because he has such diversity in his champion picks.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the case. We'll have to see how Mashme can afford. I think it's interesting. Mashme, I remember a while back, he was going APs. Wow, they are just burning through it. All right, so going over to Nick Allen is Handsome. We have Nunu and Graves. That's definitely a really strong bottom lane. They can exchange, fights very easily. Nunu helps provide control for Graves. Late game, Graves is just a monster. He's one of the best in the game at getting, those kind of quadra and pentakills. And then on TSM Evo, going with the Ezreal. So it's not Aphromu's Ezreal, it's Mashme's Ezreal. We'll see how that works out. And then going with the Vladimir as well. I'm kind of curious whether that will be top lane or mid lane.
Yeah, I'm also curious. I mean, what are the chances that that's Nunu jungle?
Oh, that's true. There is.
With the
They
changes,
have those
right?
options right now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, with the changes, he's really strong. He has really strong invade, and he's really flexible in his play. And we've been seeing Nunu in some interesting situations, like when CLG.EU played clg.na in Korea, playing him mid lane with Caitlyn. Really interesting stuff, and being really aggressive in the enemy jungle. So what is going on over there? Okay. Woo.
I think it's probably going to be a Nunu support, though, because you look at Graves and Alistar, and that's a really aggressive kill lane. Like, they have the potential to run that as a kill bot lane, but it's against Ezreal and Janna, which is generally going to be a pretty safe lane. It's going to be hard for them to get that kind of pressure. So that being the case, Nunu, will make Ezreal a little bit safer. If they try and chase down Graves, then Graves will be fine with the blood boil and with the attack speed slow. But then also you have to consider that Alistar is 10 times the jungler Nunu is as far as ganking pressure. So, he can put on that pressure on the lanes. A lot of it comes down to what kind of lanes they have. And Zera in the mid lane, wow, I would be perfectly fine with seeing that. But against an Alistar, it could possibly be a vulnerable lane.
Yeah, definitely. And she, of course, has the extremely strong ultimate, so her team fight potential is really good. And and she maybe not be so strong in the early game with her. She has strong pushes, but doesn't do a lot of damage early. So playing towards the late game, but what are they doing? Okay. Little TF action for you.
Honestly, if anyone was to play Twitch, I would imagine it's Wings of Death. And he would just be like, screw it, I'm going Twitch.
Doesn't matter.
I'm a man. Yeah. We'll see, though.
You're kind of a Wings of Death fanboy.
I'm an everyone fanboy. But yeah, he's a solid player.
You have his picture printed up in your desk. I've seen it.
Damn it, Nick. You're not just... yeah, I mean, he's a cool guy. They're all really strong players. They're, I'll start, picking on someone else for a second. The Cowpocalypse. How about that Cowpocalypse? Boy, let me tell you what.
I mean, he is on the greatest team that has ever been.
Really?
But
what is the name of that greatest team?
Nick Allen is handsome.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Oh, hey, by the way, guys, have you met Nick Allen? He's casting alongside me. I don't know if that's a coincidence or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so Salse going to be grabbing that TF. They have the double AP comp. Vladimir is very safe to control that top lane. Won't really face many issues. Orianna versus TF is interesting in the mid lane because Orianna can be extremely aggressive in that lane and, kind of poke people down. She has the range advantage on TF. He has that kind of short auto attack range. So we'll have to see. And if she can push him into the tower, that's one of the best ways to counter out a TF is just constantly throw him into the tower so that he can't get ganks or, if you tower dive him because he can be vulnerable to that kind of pressure.
Definitely. And when I look at Nick Allen's Handsome's team comp there, it looks very aggressive. You have Alistar with those strong ganks, and you have Nunu Graves bot lane for a lot of poke, and Lee Sin as well. But then I look over at TSM Evo, and they have even more of an aggressive team comp, right? They have Nocturne, they have TF, they have Ezreal, and Janna to keep them all safe. So you're meeting aggression with aggression, so I see there's going to be a lot of early to mid-game assertiveness, if you will. Yeah, and they're going to go and they're going to try to do some damage. And I'm not sure who's going to come out on top.
Well, that's the best thing about Evo's comp is having the Janna, the passive for Nocturne. He can, roam around, get a lot of aggression. Oh, it is a Nunu jungle, so I, stand corrected. So they do have that kind of kill lane bottom, which it could work out. The issue is whether you're going to have those kill opportunities. So Graves actually going with the cleanse. Oh, yeah. They're actually not. So that indicates they're not expecting to pick up kills. They're going to sit back, mostly farm and control the lane. Because if they go for kills, they're going to have to deal with Nocturne. They're going to have to deal with TF just jumping down on top of them. They're like, wow, this was a terrible mistake. What have I done with my life? But Nocturne, the movement speed passive from Janna can be, phenomenal. And then having that, 3v1, 3v2, poured in potential from both Nocturne and TF will be very strong.
Yeah, it leads me to think that the Nocturne TF picks were specifically to counter that Graves Alistar bot lane because that is extremely aggressive bot lane. And when you take the aggressive side out of it and you force them into a sustain or like a farm lane, they're not going to do as well as Ezreal and Janna.
I would be scared, though, if I was TF. I am kind of surprised they didn't run the Alistar because Alistar versus TF, that's like a match made in heaven for that mid lane.
Yeah.
But I know it should be interesting later in the game. Orianna, has the combo ultimate with Alistar, and it's very similar to a Malphite. Having that headbutt pulverize to get for that initiation, and then having the shield onto Alistar could work out well. Were you able to watch the games earlier? I just thought it was astounding how short her cooldowns were. That she can use that kiting ability and poke.
No. Who are you talking about?
Earlier, like
are you talking about Janna?
No, sorry, Orianna.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's a lot of champions you could be talking about. Okay, yeah.
I was talking about Heimerdinger, actually.
Yeah.
You see this guy right here?
Yeah, Orianna does a really good job of pushing, and in the team fight, very positional, and how she can control the space. And she can force you into positions that you don't want to be in, and that's one of her big strengths, and she does so much damage. And, I'm actually really glad that she's getting a lot of use now, and I hope we see more.
You have a soft spot in your heart
for
Orianna?
Oh, yeah. She's a pretty lady. Doesn't get a lot of use. She has a ball. That's fun.
The pretty lady with the balls. She's just all over the place.
She's having a good time.
Yeah. So I'm definitely excited. I mean, it should be interesting. I think I don't. Honestly,
are you excited?
When I can't see the names on the screen, I forget who's in the match, and so right now I'm looking at it. Yeah, I see you. I see you, Kevin. He's sitting at the door. And he's enjoying his fine drinks and rubbing his belly.
Yes.
Wait, Kevin, Nick Allen, Nick Allen. It's the drinking game. You have to drink now.
Okay.
So that's.
I was like, I'm right here, man. Why are you yelling?
I don't know.
Like it doesn't make any
Well, no,
sense.
he needed to hear it.
No, you did. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I mean, Nocturne has the jungling advantage over Nunu, and that is the concern. But we have seen Nunu has been pretty strong in the jungle lately, and then later in the game, he has a lot of team fight positioning potential. He can protect Graves in the back line, has the blood boil for him as well.
Yeah, I think Nunu really was jungling a lot back during the old jungle.
Yeah,
mostly. So this is kind of like the reemergence of Nunu in the new jungle. And actually, we're seeing all boots here from Nick Allen is Handsome. So, yeah, here comes the invade. Hopefully, maybe. Never mind.
Nick Allen is Handsome is incredibly aggressive.
It's so aggressive. Oh, man.
Yeah, but they actually drop a ward down, recognizing the threat of the Orianna and Alistar. And that's actually, it's a really strong level 1 team, not just because of how strong Alistar is, but the vision that Orianna can give you, allowing you that initiation, can work out very well. So, we'll see. It seems like a standard kind of jungling route. Nunu's going to start over at his own blue, but they do have vision over by the race. So they can check out Nocturne's path and then maybe, counter him out or just play defensively when they feel that he's going to be pressuring top.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder how aggressive he's gonna stay, Nunu, going into the mid game. How does he scale compared to Nocturne?
I mean, compared with Nocturne, it's just night and day. Nunu doesn't really need items. I mean, he's a support. So support junglers, you tend to not need items. Nocturne, on the other hand, as he scales later and later into the game, is going to be a beast. He's a AD bruiser. He's going to be incredibly strong. So we'll see. Oh, that's right. I have the scoreboard as LZH versus Nick Allen is Handsome.
That doesn't make any sense.
So I'll get that changed real quick.
LZH isn't a team anymore.
I'm
not sure if you knew that.
I had heard. But yeah, so I mean, Nocturne will be very strong late game, but Nunu, one of his strengths is that he doesn't need items, so he's going to be a little bit stronger in the early game team fights. Though the strength will come from.
Is the sound off?
Oh, there is no sound. That's. You were like pointing at it, and I was like, "What? I don't know what you're trying to get at here."
Yeah, I'm just doing my part here to bring the sound back. Nope. Yeah. Is that too loud? That might be too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Might be too loud. I'll turn it down.
But thanks for fixing that. Now I can hear my team. All
right, one more tick.
Okay. Thank you, stream, for hanging tight with us. So,
one thing to note with Nick Allen is Handsome.
Yeah.
They have Lee Sin in this top lane, and Wings of Death, he's incredibly strong. Lee Sin has the advantage over Vladimir in the early levels, though. And so a lot of these lanes, they actually have a laning advantage. So if they can pressure the laning advantage, that can definitely work out for them. Then they can push it into that AoE. Mashme getting some nice damage, but he's actually taking some himself. He doesn't have any regen. So that's kind of an interesting thing. As the lane progresses, Vladimir can sustain and just free farm against Lee Sin. He just doesn't have enough damage to take him out. But up until about level 8 or 9, Lee Sin can easily beat Vladimir. And actually, coming in for the headbutt. Really nice job from Don't Mashme getting out there. Atomic almost going down, has to back off, but they bait out Ted Stickles. They recognize he's coming down there, and they can back off and be safe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially like in mid lane, you're talking about how you know, there's that level differences when TF hits level 6, that's when he really opens up in his abilities, and Nick Allen is Handsome is going to really have to take advantage of that early game, and yeah, exactly, just like that. So forcing and consistently trying to put pressure to take that early advantage, so they can you know, snowball that into the late game.
Yeah, but TF getting the stun, getting some wild cards over onto Orianna. Nunu's here as well. It's kind of a long chase, so doing a really nice job positioning himself towards the bottom of the lane, recognizing that Nocturne, at this point in time, 4 minutes in, he would be coming from the red buff, so that, you know, just naturally making his way down there so he can avoid the jungle pressure will be fine. And we'll see. For the most part, you know, they're going to play kind of defensively for a little bit, and they're just going to sit back and farm because they recognize that Nick Allen Handsome has better lanes. So TSM Evo right now, they want to sit back and get themselves into, you know, level 6 on a couple of these champions so that they can start to pick up kills, like you said. And once TF and Nocturne hit 6, you know, they can start putting some pressure. In the meantime, yeah, it's just kind of sit back and farm, enjoy yourself. Put your feet up, get a drink.
Yeah, and they have a really good team for that because they can poke and they can, especially, you know, in the bot lane, they can sit back and just try to do a little damage and hang tight and farm, just like you said. And so as long as Evo, you know, does well, plays safe, and farms well, they're going to be entering the mid game with a, I won't say like an advantage, but they'll be in good shape for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. But I mean, that is the thing. They have very defensive lanes and then not great ganks. But actually, Nunu trying to make his way in here. Vladimir just now catching vision of him. He will pull. He's able to get out of there. He still takes a little bit of damage going from the pool. And actually, Lee Sin diving him. They might actually go for this. Ted Stickle has the red buff. He's taking a lot of damage, but Wings of Death will go down. First blood for Lee Sin. And in the meantime, TF actually getting caught out a little bit here. Nocturne ganking bottom, but everyone else is going to be fine. And Lee Sin did strike first. And that's what you want to do. You want to get some kills on the Vladimir. Now he's forced to go into that defensive route.
Yeah, definitely. When you get that you know, that early advantage in the solo lanes, especially the top lane, it's really easy for that to just get out of control and Lee Sin to be just doing really well. What's going on with the screen, man? Is that what you're saying?
It's not having a good time. The computer is freaking out right now. But I don't know. So far, Salsa has actually done a really nice job in the mid lane against Orianna, and you know, Orianna has a slight advantage in this lane, but right now just doesn't have enough mana to, you know, deal with TF's sustain, and that's that nice mana spam ability. They have sustain in a number of their lanes. Vladimir with the health, and then bottom, you know, is pretty safe. So TF can actually kind of bully her around right now. Once she gets, excuse me, some mana, she should be fine. I'm curious how she'll build. Whether we'll see, earlier today we had seen a Chalice build on Orianna, and it was much more utility kind of build, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the issues with Orianna, right? And especially against TF, is you're trying to assert that early pressure and that early dominance, but at the cost of basically depleting your whole mana pool. So meanwhile, TF is just hanging out. He's farming. He's pushing up well, and he gets to just hang out while Orianna is forced to go back.
Yeah, and actually, Atomic did a really nice job there. I'm sorry, Ted Stickles did a really nice job there. Holding the lane for Orianna. So not only did he not allow TF to back, when TF tried to get out of there, he chased him down. As a result, Salsa wasn't able to get the lane advantage that he wanted to. He's coming back in the lane. He wasn't able to abuse Orianna for a second, and Orianna actually gets to push him into the tower. Then Nunu, he tanked the minions for a second, made sure they didn't hit the tower, so that Orianna could pick up that golden experience and it wouldn't push back into TF. Now the lane is stabilized, but as a result, Orianna is actually slightly ahead of Salsa right here. She was able to catch back up a little bit thanks to that help from Nunu.
Yeah, and I mean, good on Nocturne as well to stick around and do similar positioning and help fight that off. Ooh, meanwhile, in top lane, Lee Sin is just trying to get those trades and trying to do it before Vlad hits level 6. Is he level? No, he is level 6. So he's got to be a little bit more careful now. He can't be as aggressive, and because Vlad can just turn on him and do a lot of damage now that he's level 6.
Yeah, so I mean, that is a concern, but the burst from Lee Sin is massive. He has the ignites. It will be up in like 15 seconds, and when he does that, he can go in for the kick. The kick, it has a disable tied to it, so that's one of the nice things against Vladimir. You kick into your Q, and you have a really easy targeting path for that, and then you follow it up for the quick burst, then you ignite when he pulls, maybe even chase them down. So we'll see. Vladimir has to be kind of careful and make sure he keeps his health high in that situation. Nunu, in the meantime, trying to come up, see if he can, you know, maybe counter jungle a little bit. TF going to be pushing him out, and that's the really nice thing of TSM Evo's team, is that they can support their jungle, not allow Nunu to get in there, and then, you know, support their lanes with their globals. So it should be kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious though, you know, at what point, whether or not Graves and Alistar might start putting on some pressure, but the issue is that they always are going to have to deal with that Nocturne TF.
Yeah, and of course it's hard to commit, especially with Nocturne TF, like you said, but also Janna's shield provides so much safety to Ezreal to get in there, do some pokes, do some damage like he's doing now. You know, he has like 3 seconds. Oh, meanwhile, Alistar's diving and trying to do some damage. Graves hits him in the face with a shotgun blast, and they're forced to back out. So again, just good Janna shielding and good CC from Janna, and it allows Ezreal to just poke and play pretty safe.
Yeah, well, that's one of the nice things also of having the Graves Alistar. You have so much upfront AoE damage. Now that Graves has his ultimate as well, you can burst them. You don't necessarily have to chase them for a full all-out kill.
Yeah.
You just, you know, go get up, get some burst. If they get low enough, then you throw off the ultimate, you pick up a kill, and then you can back off. But they will still generally be pretty safe. If a gank comes down, Graves has the cleanse, and then Alistar has his own cleanse as well. So that'll be kind of nice. Nocturne, though, setting up in the top lane, Nunu as well. So they want to force this. And Nocturne ulting on top of Lee Sin. Nunu is here. The TF port coming in. The ult from Nunu, and actually Nocturne will go down, but they were able to pick up Lee Sin. Now Vladimir actually tanking the turret for a second. TF coming back in, and Nunu is very low, but I'm not sure that they want to tank this.
Wow, really good positioning from Nunu. Oh, and he needs to get out. Oh, he got carded, and now he's going down. It's unfortunate for Nunu.
That's unfortunate.
Excuse my laugh there. Can't read what it was saying. But yeah, they really good positioning, and of course that is the power of TF. They can just turn on you in a second. They can be super aggressive, and they can just toy with you like they did. But yeah, good kick from Lee Sin. Good save for you know what happened up there. Got a kill. We're able to do a little bit of damage, and you know, so the advantage isn't that big.
Yeah, so I mean, it does even out some. The big thing was that Vladimir was able to pick up, or he actually didn't get the kill. So that's really nice for Lee Sin. So 2-1 for Lee Sin as opposed to 0-1 for Vladimir. So he still has the advantage there. And Vladimir was forced to go with those defensive items, which slows down his mid game a little bit. But you know, TSM Evo, this is around the point where they want to start putting on some pressure. Now, this is one of the nice things with Graves. He's one of the best champions in the game at controlling waves, and just his fast pushing power, he can throw Ezreal into the lane, and you know, as a result, they're kind of vulnerable to the TF and Nocturne, but they know that their ults are down for a while, so they can push him into the tower, and then you know, get some harass going.
Yeah, yeah, Graves extremely good at controlling the lane and just pushing, and it's going to give him an opportunity to buy. Oh, meanwhile, Nunu's coming in, trying to do some damage on TF. Nocturne's there to save him, gets that fear off, and meanwhile, TF's turning around. Ezreal comes in, and they're going to be forced to back off. So good positioning from both teams, good map awareness as well, knowing where people are at, and the junglers are being really good at responding appropriately this game. They're both in the right place at the right time. We're seeing a lot of 2v2 rather than maybe 2v1 on a gank, so they're good at guessing when the ganks are going to come and really controlling the map and having good map awareness.
And that's one of the best things with Nunu is that Blood Boil, you use it on yourself, and you're going to have that movement speed. So any jungler that has that kind of movement speed where they can, you know, control the map a little bit better, not allow those free ganks. Orianna actually coming out on the, you know, negative side of that. So as a result, Salsa, you know, is definitely ahead in this mid lane. But we'll have to see how it progresses. Orianna is farming particularly well, and that's one of Orianna's strengths as a champion. Earlier today, we saw Orianna at like 190 CS 15 minutes in. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was...
That's not possible.
I swear
There's only
it
177 creeps at 15 minutes. But.
It happened.
Okay, that's legit. Maybe they stole some creeps, but...
yeah, no, that's the big thing, is you get all the minions in the mid lane that you run over into the jungle constantly.
Yeah. That's like everything. They got every single creep, so good on them. Oh, meanwhile, Nocturne's coming around. Maybe going to try to set something up. Ultimate's almost up, so really good timing, but he's deciding to back out. The issue here is that, you know, TF is also farming well, but has 2 kills, and with that ability to travel across the map, he's going to be a real threat as he continues to farm well and just have this advantage over Orianna.
Yeah, and actually we'll have to see Nunu walking, Nocturne actually walking right up into Nunu. He should be able to get out of there. TF can zone him out, so he's going to be fine. You know, the Orianna shield, they're going to be fine as well. But they're transitioning up for this blue, so they have some really nice AoE CC right here. They, you know, can control these fights pretty easily, so they're going to try and do that. But actually, Orianna maybe trying to catch out Nocturne. They will back off. But sealing TF's blue, that would definitely be huge. Lose some of that pushing potential. He's porting in, actually, but is going to be fine, and they'll be able to step back and take this.
Yeah, this is going to solve one of those issues that Orianna has versus TF with the mana constraints. Oh, Vlad just poking out there. But as I was saying, so TF is not going to be able to put on as much pressure, and Oriana's just going to be able to poke a lot better. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Nunu coming up, trying to get that snowball off, goes up, just doing some damage, poking. Oh, man. Keep hitting, keep going.
Yeah, Oriana has plenty of damage.
Yeah,
One more
nice.
attack, the ball is able to pick that up. Nocturne actually stealing the blue buff from them, but even so, being able to pick up that kill is huge. And I don't know, it should be interesting. TF is kind of weird as the game progresses because he can, at late game team fights, TF can be both one of the strongest champions in the game and just incredibly weak. So it's kind of a weird dichotomy there. And the reason for that is that he has a spammable stun, he has spammable AoE, but he's short range, and so if you have a team that can engage on him later in fights, particularly AoE teams tend to be successful at this, then he can really struggle. However, if he's able to sit in the back, have someone to protect him in the front line, then he can just constantly spam off and win fights for you. In this case, it's kind of a mixed bag because Janna will be able to keep him pretty safe, but at the same time, he has to deal with Alistar, he has to deal with Oriana, and Lee Sin, and all these champions are very good at getting in the back line, and then Graves has the follow-up damage.
Yeah, and you said TF short range, so how does it work with like his poke, and is that too easy to dodge for him to be considered like a strong poker, or how does that work late game?
The big issue is that his wild cards are solid, it's just that his stun is tied to his auto attack, and so you're not able to get in. That's kind of short range. So that can be kind of difficult, but he can clear waves very easily, so he can farm easily and then also stall the game later. So it's just that you're vulnerable when you want to actually be in a fight. Yes, poke is fine with TF. That's usually how you kind of end up going later in the game. You try and poke people down. It's just not the most significant if you're not hitting your stun.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, Nunu looking like he's going to come and try to make a big play here on Vladimir.
Yeah, and so Vladimir will sit back, but Lee Sin actually shielding onto one of the minions, gets off the slow. The Nunu ultimate, the flash from Wings of Death, he's able to get out of there for a second, but Oriana's coming over from the other side. They should be able to take him down. He gets some damage, but one last kick. Yes, they are able to pick up the kill. In the meantime, though, Nocturne comes down bottom, along with the TF port. The fear goes off, and the Ezreal burn. They pick up the quick kill onto Graves, and now they're chasing down Alistar. He does have his ultimate up, but they have plenty of damage. One more stun. They pick it up, and now they actually have a really great Dragon team. They can go over, transition to there, and increase their gold advantage.
Man, that was really good on Evo, knowing what was going on in the top lane and taking advantage of bottom lane. As soon as they saw the top lane, there was 2-on-1, they jumped in on bottom lane, used all of their ults to be extremely aggressive and put a lot of pressure on them, getting both kills and leading to the Dragon. So really, really big step up for Evo. Did a really good job in that play.
Yeah, and actually, Nick Allen is handsome, doing a nice job of trying to equalize that gold. They take the mid turret. Lee Sin is putting some pressure on the top turret. In the meantime, Evo taking down this bottom turret. And so this early game aggression, this early game team is definitely working out for him, with those 3 globals. We'll see now if they start transitioning this to the other lanes. One of the nice things about Vladimir is he basically just plans on sitting in a lane and farming the entire game. And that's like best case scenario and worst case scenario for Vlad is you're planning on sitting in the lane and farming. And what that does when you have an aggressive kind of global team is it splits them out. Actually, in the meantime, though, the cleanse from Ezreal, he's able to get out of there. The exhaust from Alistar trying to chase him down. What it does is by him pushing this lane, it puts pressure on the top, which pulls Nick Allen as Handsome all over the map. And that opens up opportunities for them to gank, for them to use their ultimates. And where that starts is you need good ward coverage. So we'll see. Does Nocturne have an Oracles? He does not. But, we'll see if they start to ward their jungle, ward Nick Allen's jungle a little bit more, and then try and, pressure them from there.
Yeah, Nick Allen Handsome has been doing a pretty good job of ward coverage up to this point, and I think that a lot of that's tied to the aggressive jungle nature of Nunu. But meanwhile, Vladimir just poking out Lee Sin forced to retreat, and he flashes out of there trying to get back to safety. Meanwhile, Vlad is trying to pursue and try to make a big play happen, taking a couple turret hits in the process.
Yeah, and with that Hexdrinker, he's going to be okay, but it does leave this turret very vulnerable. He's going to be able to sustain. He has to watch out for the team coming to him, but Nick Allen is actually out of position, so TSM Evo, they get the second turret, and they'll be able to back off easily. Nunu coming up, trying to defend a little bit, but he doesn't really have any options there. They could actually probably turn in on him, except that they aren't really sure where the rest of the team is, so they'll just back off. TF, taking the kind of risky route, but he's able to go back. So mid turret, 3 turrets down for Nick Allen Handsome, 2 down for TSM Evo. They're catching up, but they have the nice gold lead to continue pressuring them.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit concerned about how Nunu's going to be doing going into the late game. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He, you know, he has the good AOE, and he's there mostly for CC. But how do you see him doing in the late game?
Well, the late game, he's controlling the fights, but actually Ezreal just barely getting out of that Orianna ultimate. Now he has to do with the Nunu ultimate. There's what Nunu does in the late game. He explodes people in the face.
Yeah.
And, well, the big thing with Nunu late game is you're basically there for you're there for 3 abilities, and it's his Blood Boil to super buff Graves, and Graves will just be unstoppable with that Blood Boil. He's just going to be such a monster. Then you have the Ice Ball, and the Ice Ball is a very short cooldown, attack speed slow, which is fantastic to shut down any sort of AD carry like Ezreal. He's a little bit more ability based, but it will shut him down a little bit. And then the ultimate, even though you're not going to get a lot of damage from the ultimate, the slow, it allows you to control fights and protect your back line. So it's a really great frontline ability. Everyone has to kind of run through it or waste a disable on it. They do get the mid tower. Vladimir trying to pressure that blue, but everyone's grouping around it, so they will be able to defend that.
Yeah, good map awareness from Vladimir, knowing that was coming. I don't even think they had... Oh, they had the pink ward down there, so maybe they saw a little bit of what was going on. Is that their ward right there?
This
yes.
one?
Oh, no, no, the one over by blue. Okay, so never mind. So they had a good idea of what was coming, so he needed to get out of there. But, yeah, he's probably just going to go back to lane and continue to farm, because that's what he does best. And that's what we see a lot of Vladimir players doing, just hanging out, sitting tight, and just farming hard until the last possible second, going in and doing absurd amounts of damage to everyone present.
Well, and the big thing is Vladimir, even when he's not farmed, he has a lot of damage, but he farms very well. And so, like, even though he has had to go for these Dora the Shields, his AoE damage output is going to be phenomenal. Couple that with their great single target burst. So what they want to do in team fights is just kind of kite back against Nick Allen is Handsome. And, Vladimir will throw off his AoE. Janna will help them kite so they can disengage very easily. Then they'll pick off someone with the TF stun. They'll burst someone down with Ezreal and just slowly wear them down. And it's, they'll slowly wear them down until they get extremely low from, Vladimir's AoE and from that constant poke. And then they'll be able to turn back into them, clean them up. And Ezreal is, fantastic about cleaning them up. Wow, hey, that's like a, happy birthday. That's a Merry Christmas present. Nick Allen actually, sorry, I have Nick Allen on the brain all the time.
All the time.
Colin actually just walked into the office with a nice shiny new graphics card. So.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
Why would we need a new graphics card?
That's right. We actually set this up. It's like the NFL. Are they actually? No, actually. Okay, so Nunu with the Oracles clearing out the wards there. These are, purposeful. These are overlays that we have in there.
Exactly. It's for the 10-yard line. Oh, meanwhile, they're going to try to initiate here, I think. Alistar going in, going to try to get that headbutt pulverized, but Evo doing a good job of keeping the spacing. Meanwhile, they're going to go ahead and try to close the gap here and turn on him and just try to do as much damage as possible and just poking at him as much as they can. There goes the Ezreal, just doing some damage, just trying to get him lower so they have a better position in the team fight.
Yeah, and the big thing, you saw that they baited out the Alistar ultimate. They are able to slowly kite back and deal a lot of damage without even having a hard engage. And so that's the strength of their team. They will have to worry about if they, clump up at all. Then the AoE from Nick Allen is Handsome is just really nasty, and that can pick him off. Orianna actually getting some nice poke on the Vladimir, so they're going to have to watch out for that. And actually, Nocturne forced to pop the shield. The headbutt pulverize. They will go in, but then back off for a second. But they have to deal with Orianna on the side. Ezreal, in the meantime, he is going to town on Nunu. We'll see if the rest of the team kind of goes in, because Alistar is dropping. He doesn't have the ultimate, so a couple more attacks, and he'll go down. The pull from Vladimir, but the Orianna ultimate cleaning house. Nocturne ults back in, but Orianna chasing after TF, trying to pick up that kill. Nunu gets the flash off. Nocturne picks up a kill, and Orianna was actually able to finish him off. Lee Sin, in the meantime, kicking over the wall after Ezreal. Orianna sitting off on the side. Ezreal's able to arcane shift out of there. They're still pursuing Orianna here, and with the Vladimir pull, I think they're going to burst her down, though, but Ezreal coming in on the side. If he can pick up these kills, he needs to keep kiting them, but it's so difficult.
He's doing a really good job. He's sending around the Ezreal going in, trying to do some damage, but Lee Sin was just too much. Orianna coming in, helping out with that. Okay, so there was a lot of interesting positional warfare going on in there. I thought that Nick Allen is Handsome was really out of place. Alistar got bursted down so fast, but was able to get out of there. Nunu was picked off, was doing a one-on-one situation with Ezreal, which is not what you want to be doing, but was able to snowball, get out of there with that key flash over into the mid lane. So we're able to do a lot of good positional moves and be able to make that. Was that a 2 for 2?
Yeah, I think it was like a 3 for 3 maybe.
3 for 3. Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's the perfect fight for them. They want to you know, be able to isolate Ezreal. And so Nunu, that's the ice ball. Late in the game, the ice ball can just shut down a lot of his damage. And then, you know, a lot of these champions, Orianna in particular, she's really strong at kiting herself. She has that spam ability. She can, you know, chase people around. The burst, she was able to grab both Janna and TF and then chase TF down.
Yeah.
TSM Evo grabbing the dragon here, you know, that's going to be nice. But if they can break down fights like that, that could work out for them.
Yeah, yeah, really good positioning. The right people were still alive at the end of the fight, so they're able to go and grab the dragon. Meanwhile, all the carries on TSM Evo died, and so it left them in a bad position to be able to contest that. Meanwhile, they're just going to be putting a lot of pressure on this turret. Oh, okay, never mind. So Orianna coming in, just trying to help out, just clearing that out, getting the tower, getting the extra gold, and trying to level that gold advantage. And you see it's 4 towers to 4 now. And so it's becoming extremely close as we get into this late game.
Yeah, and that's actually, we're starting to see, that's one of the reasons why it's a common combo to have Lee Sin and Orianna, because not only can Lee Sin engage for your team, but it's the double shield, and you can easily protect someone. They are sitting here waiting for the engage, though. TSM Evo caught out position. Lee Sin jumping in, trying to force the fight. Headbutt pulverized from Alistar, followed by the Orianna ultimate. They have plenty of AoE damage. The perfect Zonias from Wings of Death, though, and there's the AoE from Ezreal trying to get in there, but they were able to pick off Vladimir and then get back out.
Oh man, that was really good, and really good on Evo too to stop that Nunu ult like in the matter of like instance after he did it. So good on them, just getting in there, doing a lot of damage, and utilizing that AOE damage that they have. Did a really good job of zoning them out and forcing them to retreat.
Oh, and the TF ultimate, he's trying to see, I guess, just get vision right here, because they don't have vision in the Baron. They had the ward here, so I'm a little bit surprised by that. Ezreal poking out Orianna a little bit, and I don't know, that seems like kind of a waste of the ultimate, but I guess they were concerned. They wanted to see where they're going. I think one of the big things, though, is if they were recalling, and if TF could catch them recalling, maybe they rush Baron, and that's, you know, that's always an option. You know, that's one of the nice things that they could consider. So we'll see. The big thing is they need to keep TF alive. They need to keep Vladimir alive. And Ezreal, he's just generally going to be safe on his own. He's survivable enough. But Vladimir, you know, if they get picked off like that, that's Nick Allen is Handsome's win condition. That's how they.
You're damn right. Yeah. You're damn right. But yeah, I was talking about Nunu and how he's going to be scaling going into the late game, but he's doing a really good job of getting in there and absorbing a lot of those cooldowns. You know, they're trying to burst him down. They're trying to get him out of there so he can't ultimate. In the process, meanwhile, everyone's in the back just able to poke him down. Orianna ult, TF, or Orianna Graves is in there. He's using that shotgun. That's amazing. And they're doing a lot of damage thanks to Nunu's utility.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the case. And a lot of the issue is, like we talked about earlier, you know, the short range nature of TF, and he's kind of vulnerable. He doesn't want to get right up in there. But yeah, Nunu, the movement speed in particular, allowing them to chase down, you know, people like Vladimir and force those fights is absolutely huge. We'll have to see. Right now, you know, they're both incredibly farmed. The gold is even, the damage is even, but Graves has his Infinity Edge and Zeal finished, and the damage output of the Infinity Edge compared with Ezreal is just phenomenal. Like he's just so far ahead right now, even though they're basically even. And you know, Ezreal, he has, you know, great poke with the Trinity Force, and he has nice just utility and burst and whatnot. But Graves is a force to be reckoned with, and it's going to be very difficult for him to shut him down. That's kind of what Nocturne's for. But if the rest of them can't control the fight, you know, because Nick Allen's Handsome has such great AoE to control the front line, then it could be difficult for them to get in the back at Graves.
Yeah, definitely, and of course Graves has such good mobility as well with that E, able to as his attack speed increases, be able to move around a lot and have really good positioning. Ezreal also really good mobility, able to get around and get that key positioning. Those are two big strengths of those champions.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. I was just looking at Lee Sin's build. He's going for an extremely aggressive kind of damage build, but he has enough survivability with the Phage, with the Hex Drinker and Merc Treads. You know, he doesn't really have to worry about their burst damage. They're already skittish, so because TSM Evo isn't, you know, necessarily comfortable standing there and going toe-to-toe with them because they're always concerned about the AoE follow-up, Lee Sin can go with that kind of glass tank kind of build, and he has the Orianna shield to help him out. He has his own shield, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that TSM Evo, they're scared to just stand up and deal the damage that they need to, just because of the painful follow-up from Nick Allen.
Yeah, definitely, and they're going to be forced to having to assault that backline, trying to get to Graves and trying to get to Orianna. In the meantime, Lee Sin can just sit back and do tons of damage. He's not the issue, but he's a problem still because he does so much damage. So he's going to be able to do there and take a lot of damage and deal a lot of damage.
Flash from Pulverize from Alistar. The Orianna ult unfortunately misses, and now Vladimir turning it around on them. This is what TSM Evo has been waiting for. The Nunu ultimate is going to just do a lot of damage. Actually, not as much as I expected. So Orianna forced out the stun. They pick her up, and TSM Evo is looking pretty right now. Ezreal coming over the wall. The fear on Lee Sin. He's able to break it, but the TF ultimate, he's going to be able to grab someone. The question is who. He ports down, trying to grab Graves, picks him up right before he gets over the wall, and now all of a sudden they can pressure this Baron. They have a great Baron team with the Nocturne and with the Ezreal.
Man, what a turnaround. I think Nick Allen is Handsome is expecting a lot more poke and a lot more patience from TSM Evo, but they just flipped the switch, turn around, and really initiated hard on them, and got the kills and the initiation they needed. They got rid of the Nunu ult did basically no damage. I don't even know. I was looking right at it. I don't really know what happened, but it looked like it did basically nothing. Alistar didn't get the good initiation that he needed, so didn't get the initiation needed and was just killed super quick, and it gave him the opportunity to go and get Baron and just really start leveraging a lead over Nick Allen is Handsome.
And that's always been the issue with Orianna, with Alistar as well. If Orianna in particular, if she doesn't hit her W and she doesn't hit her ultimate, then she's very cooldown dependent. She misses out on a lot of damage, and as a result, by trying to use that ultimate so early and trying to force this AoE fight, they missed it. TSM Evo were able to bait it out, and now all of a sudden TSM Evo is significantly stronger because the AoE threat is down. They don't have to worry about TF going down in these fights. They don't have to worry about Vladimir going down. He was able to go right in the middle of them. He has the pull. He has the Zhonya's. So that's why a lot of times you see Orianna kind of hold on to their ultimates a little bit more, not try for that AoE. They are trying to come down. Ezreal's barely able to get back out of there. So, if Orianna was able to hold on to it a little bit more and just kind of leave that fear in TSM Evo, because once it was down, the fear was gone. They were able to turn into him and then easily clean up that fight.
Yeah, definitely collapsed on him hard, and like you said, very cooldown dependent. So they had to sit around and do nothing. Orianna wasn't really an issue in that fight, and that was the key for them to be successful. So if you can take out Orianna and make sure that the ult doesn't hit off or get off, then it's going to be a lot easier for them. And it's given them a strong advantage, like you said. And now Vladimir, of course, really strong, really farmed, and is going to be able to do a lot of damage with that Zhonya's and get in there, get in the mix, and make things happen for them.
Yeah, and now with that Baron buff, they just have so much more poke potential because of the region that they have. Ezreal is still generally going to be pretty safe, but if they can't burst down Vladimir, then his sustained damage, if Nick Allen can't burst down Vladimir, then his sustained damage is going to be so strong in these fights, and Wings of Death will just be able to control the game. In the meantime, TF is actually split pushing the bottom lane. He has to be very careful because, as opposed to a lot of other champions that might split push, he's very vulnerable to initiation. So if Lee Sin or anyone is able to get in range, they could easily chase him down and pick up that kill. However, he can port back, he can put pressure on that, and pull Lee Sin off to the side.
Yeah, so it's actually going to be kind of scary when TF decides to port into the mid and they're going to play really aggressive. Lee Sin's going to be so far away, he's going to have a really hard time. And meanwhile, they're just poking. They're just trying to do that damage, trying to get a little bit ahead. And they, like you said, they have that regen, so they can sit here all day. They can do this all day and just wear them down slowly until someone's forced to back, and then they can initiate 5-on-4 through a split push or a straight 5-on-5 because they're so strong right now.
Yeah, one of the issues with TF porting in is that you leave yourself so vulnerable. So TF coming over, joining with this team, that's definitely a good decision, because if you do port into the middle of a team fight, then all of a sudden the AoE team, they're like, oh, hey, there's where we engage. There's a little target on the ground. It's really nice and easy for us, and TF can get caught out of position against hard initiation teams. So he comes down, they're able to pick up that turret, and then just transition over to the bottom lane. Dragon is also up, but they have, about 30 seconds to a minute left on their Baron buff. So they're going to try and pressure this turret before they go back and take the Dragon on their way home.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Nick Allen is Handsome just has to sit back and take it because they can't engage because of how strong the poke is, how long they'll be weared down. And like they're trying to go up, they're trying to make things happen. Lee Sin just gets chunked down super hard. So, this is TSM Evo's game right now. They're just playing their game, and they get to poke, they get to take towers, and they get to snowball and leverage their lead.
Yeah, they have the regen advantage with the Baron.
Yeah.
You know, Lee Sin, like you said, getting poked down below half HP, and they don't really have a good way of accommodating for that. So very slowly, TSM Evo can wear them down and then force a fight later. The nice ward from Nocturne on the backside, so they can try and keep an eye on the team, you know, back in the tower here, make sure they're all kind of sitting there.
Yeah, that's going to give him good knowledge. Oh, and meanwhile, they're trying to engage. Vladimir forced to pull. They're trying to get in. Nocturne is diving in, trying to do some damage. Lee Sin going and kicking him in. Meanwhile, Vladimir getting knocked up by Alistar, trying to get in, and Graves is poking and doing some damage.
Yeah, TF boarding in the background was able to destroy Graves. He does go down, but not after picking up a couple of kills. TSM Evo, they're actually able to take this. Orianna goes down. Now they can take both bot. They can take mid. 2 inhibitors. We'll see if they have enough time. I don't think they have enough for a Nexus, but they can easily take an inhibitor here, just waiting out. They'll probably actually, after bot, transition into the top lane. But it was, I don't know, just slowly wearing them down and then splitting up. And that was, you don't usually see a TF porting, you know, into the back of your team. But that's just how much confidence he had and recognizing he could just walk back in and just destroy Graves. Yeah,
exactly. And when you see an opening, you take it, especially when a lot of the champions are below half health from just being poked down, collapsed on with a Nocturnal, with a TF ult, able to take out the carries that were going to be doing the damage. And in the end, it was really just the tower kind of hanging out and doing all the work. So they got to just get in there, do a lot of damage. They're going to get a dragon. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so they will be able to pick up this dragon, continue their gold lead. Unfortunately, things are looking grim for Nick Allen is Handsome.
No, they'll come back. Don't even worry about it. They're the greatest team that has ever lived.
This is such a narcissistic cast. I guess not for me, just for you.
just me. And you know what? I'll take it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I'm totally comfortable with that.
It's like if you guys want to shower me with praise and adoration, that is perfectly fine. That will,
in terms of cash, dollars.
Is that where we're progressing?
Then you should subscribe to our channel because we like subscribers.
Oh, that's true. We do like subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
How do you transition out of that?
But we'll see. You know how they can continue. I mean, Nick Allen is Handsome. They're getting further and further into the late game, and you know Graves. He actually was forced to go with a Quicksilver Sash, which unfortunately means he's not as strong as he was relatively as he was earlier in the game when he had just finished that Infinity Edge, because he's forced to spend money into these defensive items, which is now a lot more expensive after those changes, the recent patch changes. And, you know, I don't know, it reduces a lot of their damage output. Yes, it'll protect him from Nocturne and TF. If he gets hit with a stun, then he's going to be very thankful that he has that QSS. But it's still, it puts them a little bit behind. So we'll see if they can pressure this. They have great map control. Janna walking up, going to pressure them. But actually, all of Nick Allen's Handsome is here, so they can engage in this. The headbutt onto Vladimir, but actually, Orianna is very close to going down. In the meantime, Nunu zoning out Ezreal and TF, but he's going to go down. Nocturne coming in on the team. Vladimir with the port, the TF port over the wall, so they are perfectly fine. They are completely clearing this out. Lee Sin jumping onto Ezreal, but will go down, and there's the burst damage from TF, able to easily control that fight. And it was just a very disorganized fight. That's where they thrive. They're able to, when there's that AoE is not able to happen, they're able to just run around, pick up kills. They can transition now into this Nexus, and TSM Evo picks up game number 1 despite you know, the nice advantages that Nick Allen is Handsome almost had at one point.
That's unfortunate. I think Nick Allen is Handsome played a damn fine game. Just wonderful.
Nick Allen is Handsome should be proud of himself.
No,
Nick Allen is Handsome should, you know, print this game off and put it on his refrigerator so that his mom can take a look at it and be proud.
That's weird, but yes. I'm totally comfortable with that.
I mean, everyone was doing very well for TSM Evo. Salse in particular, he was very well farmed in that mid lane. He was able to get off those kills and that kind of aggression. So really nice job from them. That's game number 1. I'm definitely excited to see how things are going. We are actually going to be switching out graphics cards right now. So that's kind of a big change. And we'll just stay tuned for a second, guys. We'll be back with game number 2 shortly. Hopefully it won't take too long. And so that'll be fun. Thanks, Nick. It was a pleasure. I'm actually going to head off. So you know, after commercial break,
this will become a solo cast.
Yeah, it'll be just Nick Allen,
just me and the camera, and Hat Person. So me and Hat Person, we're gonna be hanging out. We're gonna be having a good time.
It'll be good. So thanks, guys. We'll be right back shortly.